Join us on the back porch, that's what we're here for. We're not professionals, but we're here to help. Take a step into the lounge, don't be by yourself. Light up a stick, let the stories unfold. In the Back Porch Lounge, where the vibe is bold. Shy about the shop, no need to fear. We'll teach you the ropes and make it all clear. Learn the lingo, find your cigar groove. With the Leaf Cutters crew, you got nothing to prove. We're not professionals, but we're here to help. Take a step into the lounge, don't be by yourself. Light up a stick, let the stories unfold. In the Back Porch Lounge, where the vibe is bold. So grab your cigar, join the conversation. Let's light it up, spark some inspiration. The Leaf Cutters are here, the world to ignite. One stick at a time, under the porch light.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Back Porch Lounge. We are the Leaf Cutters, and we are not professionals, but we are here to help. And today we have a special guest in the Back Porch Lounge, and that's Lou Cross from Lure Cigars. How's it going today, Lou?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for the invitation. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me today.
Hey, man, thanks for coming out, and thanks for supplying some awesome cigars. They smell good. They look good. I really can't wait to light it up. Today we're going to be smoking the Lure Last Cast. And Lou, can you tell us a little bit more about the Last Cast?
Sure. So this is the second iteration of the Last Cast. It is an annual release that we do. The phrase "the last cast" was generated last year, which was the first anniversary of my dad's passing. He and I enjoyed cigars for over 30 years together. And his 90th birthday, we celebrated with cigars. And then a couple weeks later after that, he just said he was tired, had a full life, no regrets, and he passed away. And so as a tribute to him, I wanted to create a cigar that was the cigar that makes you slow down, makes you a little more contemplative, a little bit more bold, a little bit something that's got a little bit more flavor profile that is going to make you stop and think. And the term "the last cast" is a phrase that fishermen use as the last cast of the day, last cast of the morning, last cast of the night. You throw it out, you're reeling in a little bit slower. You put a little more action on the lure. You're hoping for one more bite. You're hoping for one more fish. And sometimes the last cast isn't the last cast. You say it, and you know, two more casts later. But sometimes, the idea is behind it is the last cast is the one you agree that's the one I'm going to do one more time before I turn in. And so it's the cigar that if I could have smoked one cigar with my dad before he passed, it would have been the cigar that he smoked. And so the last cast is a Connecticut broadleaf Toro. This year's is a 6x54. The previous year was 6x52. And it's all Nicaragua binder and filler inside. There's Amatepe, Jalapa, Esteli, and it's an Amatepe in the filler as well. It's a tobacco that I liked the flavor of, and I like the earthiness of it. The Connecticut broadleaf sweetness kind of balances that. So I'm hoping that as you guys smoke it today, you guys will also kind of reflect on what it is. I have a limited allocation of broadleaf available to me, and so I didn't want to make this cigar core line, but I want to make it something that's special that we release every year in June. So Father's Day, my dad's birthday was June 1st, and then he passed away on the end of the month on June 27th. So June is a special place for lure cigars that we have.
Awesome. That's awesome, man. And we appreciate you sharing it with us and sharing the story.
My pleasure.
Hitting the field straight out the gate.
I know, right?
I was like, lighthearted, right? I'm feeling lighthearted.
Yeah, I'm smelling the cigar.
I'm good. Yeah, exactly. All right. So how about you, Robert? Do you have a question for us today?
I do. It's not cigar related. It's actually fishing related. Lou, when fishing, do you find you catch more if you cast it out or if you just let it drop off the side of the boat?
Well, that depends on where you're fishing. I grew up on a little pond. I was fortunate enough to have a little 16-acre pond behind my house that my dad had. His dream was to have a house on water and always was fishing. And when I was in middle school, they moved to the house that my mom still lives in. And so there is, the type of fishing you're doing. If you're going to go fish for crappie, you can go put the boat next to the structure and you're just basically bobbing that hook up and down with a little beetle spin on it, and you can tear crappie up without any cast. Then if you're going to fish for something that's a little more, elusive, like a bass, you're going to want to be a little further away from it, so you end up casting out. So it all depends on the type of fish you're fishing for. I will say that lazy fishing is fun fishing, and active fishing is fun fishing. A bad day fishing is better than a good day at work anytime, and especially if you throw a cigar in there as well. Right?
Your story.
Yeah.
I like to fly fish, and that's all casting. I mean, that's not really just dropping something down in the waters. And the casting of a fly rod is a whole different ball game than casting a spinning rod or something like that. But it all depends on where you're fishing. Ocean, lake, fast-moving water, barrel, if you're really looking to catch dinner. Grocery store.
In a pinch.
Seafood counter, so sure. That answers your question.
Okay, yeah. And I only asked the question because one time I haven't gone fishing very often. I just remember one of the first times I went, we were at the Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri. I don't know where we were, but I really didn't want to be there. And so I was just like dropping my line off the side of the boat and then just letting it sit there. And that day I actually caught 4 fish, which was the most of anyone in the boat. So I'm like, I wonder if that's a thing.
Sure is. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've caught more bluegill 3 feet away from the dock than I have anywhere else in a lake.
Yeah. Well, we had these very, trained fish. We would catch bluegill and shellcracker and crappie right off the little boat dock that we had out in the backyard because my dad would feed them. He'd throw out pellets and he would throw out oatmeal or, stale cereal or whatever it is. And so there was a very big population of those panfish that would be there. And so whenever we'd have friends over or there was some, young kid that's coming over and they want to fish and they want to catch something, you could put dough, just bread dough or a piece of hot dog or something on there and they would bite at anything. So, you were guaranteed to catch something. You need a lot of them for a meal, but it was always fun to catch and we'd throw them back. So I don't know.
So
yeah.
You sound like you're catfish fishing right there, man. That's what we used to do with catfish.
We didn't have any catfish in the lake, but there's a lot of people around here that do a lot of like noodling and they do a lot of catfish, fishing, and they do that at night and stuff. And there's one guy that is up he's in Iowa, and Randy will go out and he will fish and gets these big old river cats, and then he'll take a picture with lure cigars, and he swears that smoking a lure cigar increases his chances of catching any fish while he's out there. So take that with a grain of salt. Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be true. Seems like enough evidence.
Yeah. That was going to bring me to my question. I said, do you actually use lure cigars for, it's in the name, lure. Do you just toss it, tie it, add it to your
toss it in.
Cast it out there, right?
Like most tackle, it's designed to catch more fishermen than it is designed to catch fish. So I will say that the blending of tackle and tobacco together, that's the kind of the theme. The 2 things that my dad and I did together, we fished and we smoked cigars. And, those 2 activities are very conducive in like golf or like other things that people smoke cigars and have. Fishing was something that was always part of my childhood and part of my adult life. And it's something that he and I both shared an affinity for. And so when I was trying to come up with something as far as branding for the brand, it just made sense that I was going to take, the 2 things we loved and kind of bring them together. So that's how the Lure Cigars name came in. And I never really paid attention to it, but it has this kind of alliteration for my name being Lou, his name being Lou and Lure. So Lou of Lure Cigars, and I've had people call me Lure and call them Lou Cigars and everything else. So it's it all works out. But the idea of bringing the 2 things together was something.
I totally thought that was intentional when we met you at PCA.
Yeah, it was something that it just happened. So I will say that the 2 things identify. Most people, if they're not active fishermen, they have spent some time dropping a line in the water, whether they loved the activity or they hated the activity. Everybody's got a fish story of some kind. I've heard plenty of stories where somebody says, I went out one time on a deep sea fishing trip with my coworkers because the boss wanted to go out and I got seasick and I hate fishing. And I'm like, I'm sorry to hear that, kind of thing. But they have a story. And the idea is like our slogan is smoke great cigars and tell tall tales. Cigars bring people together. And, the technology like this podcast and like being able to get together on Zoom and Discord and all these other things that you have has made it available for people to get together and share stories. And that's one of the things that you get when you're going to a lounge and in person that has been great over the last few years since COVID is to be able to get together and smoke a cigar and just shoot the breeze. And that was one of the things that no matter how good or bad the day was, I could always sit there and I could always talk to my dad about something and anything else. And cigars were a platform that you knew you had an hour and a half, depending on, or even longer if you smoke more than one cigar, that you could get together and sit there and it forced you to slow down. And fishing's the same way. You can't rush it. I mean, there's very active fishing, like some of the deep sea fishing stuff where you're going out there. There's a lot of very moving around and a lot of moving parts. But for the most part, the type of fishing that I did was freshwater fishing, and it was just very slow and very, contemplative. And that's why cigars and fishing to me go together. So
Absolutely.
That's awesome. All right,
So-
let's do our first light up on this.
Oh, I have a quick
Since
question
we haven't
before
got
we.
that quite. Okay, go ahead.
It can wait. It can wait. Oh, it'll wait.
Making a scene for no reason, Zach.
Hold it right there, Zach. Hold it right there.
Hold
It'll be
Hold
fine.
it right there.
Yeah.
All right. So first thoughts on this one. This is a full cigar, like off the bat, like first inhale, it is full on hitting me, and I am loving it. That smoke output on it is terrific. The taste of it is terrific. Having a little bit of a burn issue, but it's not that big of a deal.
touch it up.
But other than that, it's pretty freaking awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a little bit of waviness going on.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's no fun.
Hey, but it's just something that we notice. But yeah, it's not detracting or subtracting from the experience at all. It's still fantastic. But yeah, that's what I got so far. How about you, Andy?
I love it. I think before, when we were at PCA, I don't remember outside of the fish stick what I had and brought home and smoked. But this is smooth. This has got a good start. With Gibbs, it's kind of got a full body to it. But then again, I just had pot roast and potatoes, 15 minutes before I got on here. I was hungry, just in case. So, and I'm feeling full. So I'm just gonna enjoy and relax and go along.
It's all that
Good
matters.
groceries.
That's it. How about you, Grim?
Nah, I gotta go back for a second. Why wasn't I invited for this pot roast?
Because you don't want to drive 8 hours west just to come visit.
FedEx has same day
I
shipping.
did-
I don't give a shit. FedEx has same day shipping.
Have
Hey.
you FedExed food?
I don't know if you should. I think you can.
I'm not putting dry ice in there. You're not getting it cold. You're just gonna have to go with God.
No, I'll rescue this pot roast. Now, my lower cigar is very good at the moment. I agree with the full body, and I haven't had to touch it up or anything else like that. It's a nice even burn for me. I really like the flavor. That's a huge positive for me right now. I'm having a hard time not just sitting here and sucking it down. So
That's why you got two.
That's
I'm
what
trying to relax.
Mine's
with
a
it,
little bit
our
smaller than yours.
conversation
Yeah.
is relaxing, and not me sitting here let's do this right now.
All right.
That's-
Fair enough.
My willpower just waned.
Yeah, it's hard not to keep just puffing on this thing. I have to literally stop and be like, let's talk a little bit. Let's stop smoking this for right now. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, so far on light up, it's a great tasting cigar. It's burning evenly. I don't know if you can see that. I like the smell coming off the foot. I like the intake. I like the output. So far, so good.
That works. How about you, Zach?
I'm really digging it so far. It's definitely got a leaning towards full, even this early. It's got some pepper in it that I'm getting that is not overly powerful on the retro, which is fantastic because sometimes that's like a balance. This is on point for that. Not picking up much else other than the pepper and kind of that. I don't know if that's a signature broadleaf thing, but it's good so far. Really enjoying it.
There you go. Can confirm. All right. So, Lou,
Zach
just
had a
to
question. Zach.
oh yeah, Zach.
Wait, let-
sorry,
let
Zach. Do
finish.
your question.
Yeah,
I
Zach.
apologize.
I don't want Zach to forget.
There's a good chance I was going to forget. So Lou, I think I know the answer, but whereabouts are you based?
So I'm in Tallahassee, Florida, which is Florida's capital city in the Panhandle. I kind of grew up here. I was born in Milwaukee area, but 2 months after I was born, they moved to Tallahassee. So I've known only Tallahassee as home. But the factory is in Esteli, Nicaragua. So I don't know if you're asking about where I'm from or where, the cigars are from. And so we're at La Tabacaria in Esteli, Nicaragua. And all of our cigars are made there. It's in the original San Latano factory. And we use all AJ tobacco. So in terms of our origin story. So you'll get flavor notes and things that you may find out there that are familiar. And then other things that are kind of exciting his name is Brejo, who is our master blender. He is just a magician when it comes to blending the tobaccos and coming up with ideas and working with us to kind of execute our dream and in our vision that he puts the stuff together. And he was the one that actually took this cigar and amped it up from a 52 to a 54. And that was something that I was a little apprehensive because I had actually already printed the labels for the packages this year and they were all 52. And he's like, nope. He goes, this needs to be a 54. And I'm like, I don't know. And so they sent samples and I was like, bow to the sensei, so it was a much more bold blend and the cigars they drew better. It was just the right cigar. And so we reprinted the labels and the rest is history. So every year we'll do this cigar. I can't guarantee it'll be the exact same Vitola, but I like the Toro format. I like the time it takes to smoke a Toro. So we may do something a little different with the last cast as years go on. But, this year it's just a slightly thicker version of the format. So
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I was just trying to imagine like what kind of fish you have around you. So I spent a little bit of time in Northwest Louisiana where it's crappie country out there. And I heard you talking about crappie and I'm like, oh man, I really want some crappie right now.
Crappie's good eats.
Yeah.
Crappie's like the walleye of the South, a walleye's a better fish, but they're not a species that are down here. So in the lake behind the house, you get crappie, bluegill, shellcracker, bass, most other sunfish. You get catfish around. A lot of the still water and a lot of the river water, you'll get catfish as well. And then I'm about 35 minutes from the coast, so you can go down to where you can get into the flats or then the inshore fishing and get redfish, trout.
Yeah.
And, those kind of fish as well. They got mullet. If you're not fishing with a pole and you're fishing with a net, you can grab some mullet. And that's something that they make a lot of fish dips and smoked mullet out of, which actually has its own kind of following. Then you go, a little bit further out and you get ocean fishing. So, or I say ocean, Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, whatever it is, that you get, so you go, I just say ocean fishing.
The Gulf.
The saltwater
Gulf.
stuff,
The Gulf.
in the Gulf.
Yes.
The Gulf.
So we have, it's nice because we have access to all of that in terms of fishing. And then you can drive probably about maybe 6 or 7 hours and get to some clear water, which I like to go to like mountain streams and stuff in Appalachia, North Georgia, North Alabama. You can go to South Carolina, some of the hill country that's up there in, upstate that you can get some water where you can do some trout fishing. And so my favorite type of fishing to do is light tackle fly fishing, but I don't get to do it nearly as often as I would like just because of the, geography, and time. But as I've traveled, I need to, throw some rods in the car like my dad used to do. He always, whenever he would be on the road and we would always do a vacation or go visit family or something, he always had a rod or two in the car. If there was a lake, regulations be damned, he was going to be out there trying to catch something. So, he'd take his chances with Ranger Rick. But he would always sit there and he's like, I'm going to go to that lake. I'm going to fish that or that stream, that's a good trout stream. And I'm like, you don't have a license. What, I'm the rule follower, so I'm sitting there going, my dad's going to get arrested. He's going to go to jail. But no, he never had a problem. But he always had a line in the water whenever we would go somewhere. It was kind of fun.
Pretty awesome. So I'm in East Tennessee now. So
Okay.
if you know East Tennessee, I'm a little bit north of Knoxville, about 20 minutes north of Knoxville.
Yeah.
We've got, lots of lakes and stuff around here. A little bit of off the bottom of Norris Lake, they stock trout in there, and there's a couple of wild species in there that are very rare. You're almost guaranteed to get a farm raised one, but it's still a good time.
Sure.
But when I was in Louisiana, since the water is so close to everything, it's all bayou and stuff around there. I bought this little like collapsible cheap rod, and I would put it in my backpack when I went out for a motorcycle ride, and I'd be like, oh, I could probably fish right there, and just cast a little bit and then go by my way.
Awesome.
But, yeah, it was super fun. Little harder.
In the 70s, that was called a pocket fisherman, sir.
Oh, yeah.
That's nothing
Yeah.
new.
The Ron Popeil pocket fisherman.
Right. That would have worked too.
Yeah. That thing was ugly as sin, but it did work.
Sure it did. No, absolutely.
I've caught fish with a line tied to a stick and a hook on the end.
Yeah.
You just stick it in the
Well,
water.
Well, that's
I had
the
a
thing.
bamboo pole.
Yeah, that's the thing about fishing and cigars, right? You can spend as little as you need to catch fish. It requires you to have a stick, a line, and a hook of some sort, some sort of a bait, whatever you want to call it. And you can spend $500,000 on a boat and fish for billfish off the coast of Yucatan. So, like with cigars, it's very accessible to people that want to spend a few dollars on a cigar and they can still have a great experience, or they can spend hundreds of dollars on the experience to have something. And so, it doesn't require, a big investment, but you can put as much into it as you want to. Fishing and cigars have that same kind of appeal, and it's a leveling agent. The person that is not limited by the tool when they're out there catching fish. I mean, some of the best fishermen, they can catch fish with just a string and a hook. They don't even have a pole. So,
I experienced that recently. There was a guy who was better at trout fishing than I was, and we were on the same place using almost identical lures and bait, and he caught like 6, and I caught 0. He's just better at it.
Yep.
He knew how fish think better.
You're just like, you cheated. You were closer to the fish. That's why you got so many.
No, I don't. Just better at it.
My dad was that way. He would always go out and he'd sit back and smoke a cigar and either use the paddles of the boat or he would use the trolling motor. So he'd let us fish for a while, as we were growing up, and we would go out there and he would tell us where to throw it and everything else, and we'd do our best. And then as we grew up, we knew better, right? We were going to go out there and outfish him. And then he would just sit back, and then next thing you know, we would be skunked. He'd throw 2 lines out there and catch fish. I don't know if he had some kind of extra little, shake on the wrist, or if he had a little conversation, or if he had some kind of, Aquaman-like vibe to be able to talk to the fish. I'm going to throw you back, just let me prove to my kids I can outdo them, and whatever. But he always would, never was he skunked. I mean, the guy always could catch fish. My wife's got a little tinge of that too, so I don't bring her along either. So yeah, she'll outfish me, she'll outshoot me. I just said, so. If I was needing food, those are 2 people I would want to have on my fishing team. If I'm actually doing it for sport or competition, they stay home.
You're trying to relax.
I love it.
No thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. I get the logic behind that. So, you told us the story behind the last cast. What about the stories behind your other lines, like the fish stick and the orange one? Was it Obscure?
The Oscuro.
Oscuro. That's it. Oscuro.
So when we first started, I was trying to find a cigar that I was going to do as a tribute before the last cast was even a vision. I needed a cigar that I was just going to have to give out to people. I wasn't even going to do a cigar company. I was just looking for something I could have as a memory of my dad. So the cigar that we came up with was a Corojo. And the way we got around to getting to that cigar was I was trying to find a cigar with my buddy Nimmer, who owns Valakari Cigars. His cigar company is also located in Tallahassee. And so I had gone to him and said, can you help me get a cigar as a tribute to my dad? And he said, sure. So I tried to get a Habano because that's my kind of go-to cigar when I go into a place and want to try something. I said, give me a good Habano. But I wasn't getting something that was hitting my palate right. And I was a little discouraged. And Nimmer went back into the warehouse and came back after we'd been smoking all day on a Saturday, and he handed me this cigar that was reddish brown. And he said, smoke this. And I was like, what is this? And he goes, just smoke it. So throughout the smoking experience, I really fell in love with that cigar. And I said, what is this cigar after smoking it? He said, look, that's a Corojo we've been working on for a couple years. And I don't have a place in my portfolio right now. It's not going to be 2025, 2026 before I release that. Do you like this cigar? And I said, I absolutely love this cigar. And so he allowed me to have that blend as the blend that launched my brand as a gift. And it was so that became the Big Lou. The Big Lou was a Toro 6x52 in the Corojo. Well, he also encouraged me after I started having, a few of them handed out and people really liking them and everything else. He said, you ought to look at doing this as a business. Are you going to, sell them? And I said, I hadn't thought about it. And he said, well, in order to put an order in at the factory, you got to buy 5,000 cigars. Well, I didn't need 5,000 cigars for myself, so I said, well, maybe I should sell them. Right? And if they don't
motivation,
sell,
right?
Sure. If they don't sell, I'll be smoking them for the rest of my life, right? I figured.
Right.
Well, I was very fortunate. When we put the order in for 5,000, I bought 2,000 Toros, I bought 2,000 Robustos, and I bought 1,000 Torpedoes at the time. And so that 5,000 cigars, I had the Big Lou in the Toro. I had the Little Tony, which was the 5x50 Robusto, named after my son. He's actually 6'5", but when he was little Tony. And then I had the BLT, which was the Big Lou Torpedo, because it was the same blend, but it had a little more Lajero in it. And the BLT was the favorite sandwich my dad always ordered whenever he'd go to a diner. He always judged them by their BLT sandwich. He said, you screw up a BLT, then I'm not ordering anything else. So BLT was the Torpedo. So those cigars we got, I launched in 2023 on Black Friday after Thanksgiving. And by the first of the year, they had sold out. They were gone. Wow. And so it encouraged me to continue. And so after the first of the year, we, legitimized the company. We, did all the branding, did all the registration of the trademarks and all that stuff. January 1st of 2024 was the first, birth of Lure Cigars officially. We continued to work, and we did a Habano line, which is the green packaging. So the Corojo's in red, and the green is the Habano. These are just two of the Robustos. So we did the Habano came out in February of 2024, and my daughters, I have two daughters, they were like, when are we going to get a cigar named after us? And I was like, I wasn't even sure they were paying attention. So the Holy Coley was born, which was the shorter Robusto 5x50, the Holy Coley named after my daughter Nicole, and then the Tally Alley, which is the Toro size, that's named after my daughter Allison, and Tallahassee's nickname is Tally, so Tally Alley. So all of the names kind of have names similar to what you'd see in vintage lures, where they had like the Super Duper or the Golly Wally, kind of thing and stuff like that. So the whole motif of vintage lures and vintage tackle kind of carried forward in the branding of each of the cigar names. The Habano had those two sizes to start. We launched with that. And then over the time, I wanted a slightly bolder Habano. And the Habano actually took a step down from medium plus with a Corojo to medium. And I was like, can you do a full-bodied Habano? Because I want a stronger cigar, because I like stronger cigars. And so I wanted them to take the Tally Alley and add Lajero to it. But I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And you don't want a recipe based on me. So the blender was like, look, he's like, hermano, no mas, like no more Lajero. He's like, let me work on something. So they sent up a cigar that was box press. And the box press, they changed the wrapper leaf to Habano 2000 from the Esteli Habano that we were using. The Habano 2000 wrapper, they have an Amatepe binder, and then he took out some of the Viso and the Seco that was there, the filler tobaccos, left all the Lajero of the Amatepe in the filler. So the Jalapa Esteli and the Amatepe in the filler has a higher ratio of Lajero. So that cigar was sent up as a sample, and I was over here on the porch smoking, and I was on the phone with Nimmer in the factory, and I said, guys, this cigar is awesome. My wife happened to be out here. And so as she was sitting out here, she was listening. Again, I wasn't paying attention to her. So she says, if that cigar is awesome, I want it named after me. I said, okay. I said, well, I'm going to call this the Mean Gene, because her name's Jeannie. And I said, this one is stronger, so I call that the Mean Gene. Well, she was totally down for it. She's like, yeah, absolutely. And the factory in Nimmer was like, I'm not calling it that. I'm like, I put her on the phone. She gave her blessing, and so the Mean Gene was born in July. We did the first version of the last cast. Not to skip over that, but we did the first version of the last cast. And then that fall, we did a catch and release, which was the Brownie Trout, and so it was a box press 6x54. San Andreas wrapper on that cigar over Nicaragua binder and filler. And we did those. The catch and release versions we do are little micro drops. We do them in 5 packs, craft paper, no frills, all thrills, It's a series of cigars that we use kind of as a short run, anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000. We put them out, get people's feedback. Do you like it? Do you not like it? And we did that with the Speckled Perch, which was the broadleaf catch and release we did just before the last cast. And last cast was a blend that came out of that kind of feedback we got from folks. So it's been really fun to develop new things and everything else. And then after the first of the year, as we approached PCA, we launched the Oscuro. And so the Oscuro is the orange packaging. That is a double Maduro. The tobacco is fermented twice as long, and it's aged twice as long to be able to get that cigar. So it's a darker, richer kind of motor oil black. And that cigar is what I like to have in the morning with coffee or at night after a high proof, after a long day with a high proof spirit. And that cigar I named the Big Joe and the Little Joe because my dad always loved coffee with cigars. So Big Joe, Little Joe is the Toro and the Robusto for those. So we went into PCA, and one of the, you mentioned fish sticks. So fish sticks are a little 4 1/4 by 46 box press cigar that is and comes in a little 5-pack with a Boveda pack and a sticker. And that cigar, there you go. And the fish sticks was basically going back to the Mean Gene was the cigar I really love, but it's really hot in Florida, right? So it's 115 degrees outside. You can't enjoy a cigar for an hour and a half outside. I went back and I said to the factory, can you take the Mean Gene and roll me a small Mean Gene that I can have for 15, 20 minutes to smoke just to get the flavor and get the experience, but not have to be out here for an hour and a half? So they wouldn't make them in the box press format because they didn't want to make the molds. They didn't have the molds done. Until I was ready to commit to a volume that was going to be justification, they said we can do a little Parejo. So the first batch of Mean Gene Mini Mean Genes, they ship them up. I get them. They're 4 1/2 by 46. I start smoking. I'm like, this cigar is awesome. I really like this cigar too. Well, I went on my laser printer and I just printed a little thing that says fish sticks on it. I took a picture on social media. I had no intention of making them viable and commercially available at all. But everybody saw them on social media and they were like, where can we get fish sticks? And I had retailers going, we want fish sticks. I want a fish stick. When can we try the fish stick? So I was fortunate enough, I went ahead and had some bands made, and I went ahead and had the remaining 2,200 of them made into fish sticks, did the packaging, and they sold out immediately. And so they were gone. And when I went back to the factory, I said, okay, this has got a little bit of momentum here. I think I want to go ahead and commit. So for PCA this last year, we launched the actual box press, like a frozen fish stick bag of fish sticks. Mm-hmm. And those fish sticks are 4 1/4 by 46 box press. And we did 10,000 of them. They have sold out. And so now we're about 30 to 45 days out on fish sticks returning. And that will be regular production. They're just a very popular small smoke. You know, retails at $8, $40 for a 5-pack. It's fun to smoke. And people just love the name and the concept, but they really like to smoke the cigars.
It's a great cigar.
They're like, you know,
it's a fantastic cigar.
Yeah, so it's fun. I mean, I like smaller kind of Corona-sized stuff, and when I go out there, I want to smoke a variety. And when I want to, you know, if I'm out watching a game or moving around or driving and going to the bank or whatever it is, and you know, or between casts fishing, I take a fish stick because I don't have to commit to such a long, you know, commitment for time. So, and then as we get forward, we just launched this last month. We did the Maduro line. So the Maduro line is now out. We brought the brownie trout back because it was very popular. And we now have the little trout, which is a upside down. There we go. The brown packaging is our 4th core line. And so the 4th core line is the Maduro, it's the brownie trout and the Toro. And then we amped up the Lajero ratio in the Robusto. So the little trout is a little spicier. It's a little kicked up. Those two just came out. So that kind of rounds out our portfolio. We'll be getting into the rest of this year, and then we'll focus on PCA and maybe some new exciting things after the first of the year.
So is that one the one that I've seen here recently, just oozing chocolatey? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So the flavor notes that we you know, share, everybody has their different way, and it's all subjective in terms of flavor. When I first had the brownie trout, that cigar reminded me, both in aroma and in taste, of well-done edge corner brownies. I mean, I always try to get the edge piece, let the corner piece of a brownie, and I love chocolate brownies. I like the ones that are on the more well-done side. And that cigar just really reminded me of that. And so when we went back to get the cigar made for the core line, we had to commit to a higher volume. So, and I wanted it to be a slightly more flavor than what was in the original brownie trout. The original brownie trout is very popular, very good. People love that cigar, but it just left me wanting just a little bit more of that Nicaraguan spice that you get, you know, that baking spice and that kind of that pepper on the retro. So we swapped out the San Andreas wrapper because that's harder to get and more expensive, and we wanted to make it more, you know, affordable in terms of keeping it to where the cigar wasn't $15-$16. We went with a Nicaraguan Maduro, and that wrapper on that cigar adds just enough. It's the same binder and filler that was in the original, but we can get it to where that flavor just is amped up, and so it's a nice surprise that the factory was able to come up with that and make it so that we can continue to make sure it's consistent and going forward as core line.
That's a flavor I really appreciate in cigars. I'm actually getting a little bit of chocolate in this one, not like overpower, but like just on the back, pretty pleasant.
Excellent.
So that actually brings me to my next question, which is, so what is your favorite line out of your cigars, and why is it the fish stick? Just because I like the name.
Yeah, so that's the most fun one to say, because people just, whenever I go to events or whatever it is, and we bring fish sticks out, people that aren't even cigar people, they just find that to be fun. They get drawn into it.
Yeah.
And our brand is always something I want to, do and fun and have it accessible to people. It's, I want to make sure it's affordable and accessible and just a fun brand. There's no pretension. I don't have 200 years of tobacco family history. I got 30 years of smoking cigars and enjoying cigars from a variety of places. So, I just smoke good cigars, right? Well, my favorite cigar, I could pick one out from each of the lines. I would say that the Last Cast is probably the cigar that if I had to sit back and only smoke one cigar of mine for the rest of, eternity, if I could only have access to it, I'd probably do the Last Cast because of what it means to me. And I love the flavors. I love Connecticut broadleaf. But, there's a cigar that I didn't mention, which was the holiday release last year. It's coming back out in November, which was the Jolly Walleye. That cigar is the other annual release we do. So we do one in June and we do one in December, and 6 months apart. The Jolly Walleye is basically a Habano. And when I first lit that cigar up, it had salted caramel notes and reminded me of the holidays. And so that's my favorite Habano. Corojo, we recently, when we were working with the factory and I ordered some Little Tonys, they messed up. And somehow through communication from WhatsApp and text messaging and handwritten notes in the factory, they shipped up a series of cigars that they showed up in a box. I was trying to replenish Little Tonys that were running low on stock. And I opened the box. And look inside, and there's these 5x54 Corojos. And they got my band on them, but I don't have a 5x54. I'm like, what is this? And Nimmer goes, well, those are Little Tonys. I said, like hell. I said, they're Fat Tonys. I said, these cigars are 5x54. And so somehow the 0, which was 5x50, looked like a 4 when they made a loop on the handwriting. And so they rolled them as 5x54. So I had a couple thousand of these 5x54s, and I'm like, what do I do with this? So factory apologized, we'll make it right. We'll get you the whatever. And I said, okay. But we ended up tearing one of the packages open and smoking the thing. And that cigar is my favorite size in the Corojo, because it's got a little bit more power, and for whatever the ratios are in there, 5x54. So the Fat Tony became the Fat Tony. I immediately went and got labels, and we put them in packages, and I said, so Fat Tony is born. So we're actually moving away from the 5x50 format, and we're moving towards 5x54 for all of our Robustos to standardize. So the Little Joe, the Holy Coley, and the Fat Tony, and then the Brownie Trout will eventually go to a 5x54 as well. So everything's right now, it's either 550, 552, 554. It'll all be 554. And we're going to standardize that for PCA next year, because we're working on packaging to come up with some standardization and make it available. So up until this point, we put all our money in tobacco. Now we got to focus on presentation and packaging that we have.
Yep.
So my favorite
appeal stuff.
My favorite, it depends on the line, but I'd say Last Cast. If you had to pin me down in the corner, which cigar, I would say Last Cast.
So with the Jolly Walleye, I was reminding you of the holidays. I got to do this. Did it have hints of cardamom?
No, but you know what? I don't have those notes, though cardamom is a pretty dominant spice in there. I would say it's cinnamon and salted caramel. The cigar just made me salivate. You know how some cigars, depending on when you're smoking them, they'll increase saliva production.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it was one of the cigars that just really hit my palate, and it just was like, oh my gosh, I just didn't want to stop smoking that cigar. And we did them last year. They come out in silver packaging and silver and green packaging, and so they'll be coming back in November. They're at the factory now, finishing up the aging on them, but they'll ship in a few weeks. So look for them right after Thanksgiving.
And Lou, that was a dig at me. And I don't appreciate it one bit.
Yeah, you do. The rest of us loved it. It's okay.
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I was very
bunch Bunch of assholes. Anyway, let's
was
do a
great.
check-in on this cigar.
The minute he said holiday, I was like, this has got to go.
Yeah, I'm about halfway on mine. So let's do a midway check-in real quick.
I'm not halfway. I haven't lit in the second one yet. Hang on a second.
All right, so this has been consistently good throughout the whole thing so far. It hasn't increased, it hasn't decreased, it's stayed the same. It has been consistent. I am enjoying the hell out of that fact. Just the touch-up has fixed the burn problem I was having earlier, so no problem there. The taste is still fantastic. No film in my mouth, which that's a bonus for me. And I'm still thoroughly enjoying it, and I appreciate you letting us smoke this one.
Absolutely.
How about you, Andy?
Well, I guess I'll just mirror the things Gibbs said. It's got a really nice retro. It's real smooth.
It does, yeah.
It's still a little bit of pepper, but not, like Zach said earlier, it's not, oh my God, my sinuses are on fire. And it's just a smooth, enjoyable, you're right, it's a sit back, relax, take your time, and enjoy, the experience.
All right, how about you, Grim?
Damn, shit's good.
Nice.
Holy crap, that's uber high praise. I don't know what
That is
High
uber
praise.
high praise.
That is
out of
super
Grim.
high praise.
I love the cigar. I'm not even joking.
Well, I appreciate you.
He's like, as soon as this one's done, he's gonna go grab the other one and start lighting it.
don't tempt me right now. I might.
How about you, Robert?
This one is hitting all the spots about cigars that I enjoy. The burn is even, trying to slow down because I want to enjoy it more. Yeah, everything is great.
Fair enough. How about you, Zach?
The cigar, it's really, it's definitely checking all the boxes of things I enjoy. The spice is kind of toned down, as a spicy cigar tends to do, which is good. I don't want to be like overpowered with it. It's all kind of balanced. I'm still getting that kind of bittersweet chocolate cocoa on the back end, which is a thing I really enjoy. And no issues with construction. I had like one little tiny spot I touched up, but it probably would have evened out eventually. The ash is holding together really well. This is a good cigar.
Yeah, we could almost have gone. I think we could have gone with a long ash competition on this, as well as the ash holds together.
I specifically tapped off the ash because I didn't want to wear it because I knew it was getting close.
Same.
But it was almost twice as long the last time.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's one of the characteristics of the construction is something that I've been very blessed to have working with factory and talented people that they know how to roll cigars and they do well. And there's a couple cigars like the Fat Tony I mentioned that you can sit there and you can get 3 inches of barrel ash on that cigar. It's just, and it's fun to sit there and see how long, but I've worn more ash on more clothes and burned more holes in shirts.
Yeah.
Trying to be cute, so I kind of don't push the envelope on that. But they did a long ash contest at one of my events when we were up in Livermore, Iowa, that they did, and this one guy had one of the little Joes, and it was down to the cap in terms of just the cap line, all ash, and he was holding it, just burning the tips of his fingers. But he won the fishing rod, so more power to him. So
There you go. Dedication.
Yeah. Motivation too.
Yeah, always fun.
So we brought this up on a different podcast just because the weekend that you were supposed to be on originally, it didn't happen, and it was because USPS sucked so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to ask the question: why does USPS suck so bad?
Well, no, I will not. It's very frustrating from the manufacturing perspective because I can't be everywhere at all times, and a lot of our business is basically through the phone, through the internet, email, and you're sending out samples or you're sending out orders, and you're very dependent on USPS and for UPS, and so all of our shipments go out of the warehouse through UPS. I've had several shipments get lost or stolen, and we've had to change our packaging so that it does not have identification on it, because I used to brand the boxes, Lure Cigars and all that kind of stuff, and it's fun to receive a package and see it, but it just brought attention to it to the point where there's just some people that, are going to not do good things and whatever, and that's a shame. And I had some samples that went out for U.S. Postal Service that I'd sent out, just and the box arrived empty. And it's like, and they reported, oh, it's damaged. There wasn't any product in there. I'm like, that's not the way it was when it was shipped, and it's taped up. There's no way, unless somebody cuts into it or tears into it, that it's going to get, and priority mail isn't what it used to be. It used to be 2 to 3 day shipping. Now it's like 5 days if you're lucky, depending on where stuff goes. So I have no idea what's going on with the Postal Service, but who knows? I don't trust tracking at all. Tracking number is just a suggestion that it's in their possession, and that's the only saving grace that you have. You get it when you get it. I think that's the attitude.
I think you're about right.
That's very
Reminds
true.
me of that meme. What is it? It's Amazon. We're actually in your house delivering your package. And USPS means goes, yeah, we might have gotten a package, but it's nowhere near you. In fact, we may have shipped it to China for you. And Zach and I know we can confirm the whole. Watch it travel.
You can watch it driving. I'm sending something to Atlanta, and it goes to Pittsburgh, then it goes to Chicago, then it goes to Dallas, and I'm like, what in the hell is going on with this thing? I mean, somebody grab this and make sure it's going where it's supposed to go. I have no idea. Crazy.
That's why I didn't send you. That's why I'm not mailing Grim pot roast.
Mm-hmm.
Make it there.
I said FedEx. We didn't touch FedEx there, so I'm sticking with that.
You did. You said same day FedEx. I heard it.
Paying for it. You're gonna send me the money and I'll ship it for you.
Show me love. Show me you love me. Just send it. It's okay.
Send them the recipe and tell them to shut up.
Don't do food math. What are you talking about?
As soon as my mother-in-law gets back, I'll send you the recipe.
There you go. See? Happy medium.
There you
Solving
go.
problems here on the podcast. All right.
So, I have a question. I know you have a list of them, but I just thought of this and was curious. So before you developed your own blends and cigar line, what were some of your go-to cigars that you really liked?
Well, when I first started smoking, I smoked the stuff that was readily available. And so when I first came back from the Keys, where I first smoked my first cigar, I went into my local tobacconist, and I was 18 years old, and I said, I know nothing about cigars. And the guy that owned the shop at the time, he was like real friendly, and he's like, come on in here, we'll get you something, we'll get you a Fuente. So I went from smoking some unbanded cigars in the Keys that we'd stopped at a cigar shop to, when I came home, I bought a box of Fuente Numero Unos that were 25 count box. It was $42 out the door, if that tells you how long ago it was.
Yeah.
And so
The good old days.
Oh yeah, and so I had a Rubbermaid container, a little Tupperware container with a sponge in it. I distilled water, and I did that. So I started out smoking Fuentes, then I smoked Olivas, I smoked Olio de Monterey Excalibur No. 3s was my favorite cigar for a while, and so I smoked a lot of the stuff that you could get at the cigar shop. There was no, and then lo and behold, somehow, however they figured out, they bought some data. When I used my debit card, that I got on the catalog list. I started ordering from JR, and I started ordering from CI. I started ordering from, Famous and other places. And I was always wanting to try something new. And so I would go out there and smoke. But most of the stuff was heritage and legacy stuff that was out there. Well, it was probably in the early aughts where I started smoking other cigars and smaller known brands, right? And there was stuff that it was out there. Well, it wasn't until the teens that I got into boutique cigars and realized that some of the smaller companies like Tatuaje, Illusion, and Room 101, and some of the cigars that were out there. So I smoked a lot of those cigars, and Liga Privada was all the hype. Everybody was chasing that and everything else, and you wanted to smoke those and find those and everything else. So, I've ridden most of the waves and seen, the two booms through the industry as a consumer. I'm a consumer first. And as I become more aware of what it was taking to make cigars and where the cigars were being made that I liked, I would go out there and I would try new stuff. And, so I love Casdagli cigars. I like cigars from Lampert. I smoke a lot of Tatuaje. If I was to go into a shop and they had Tatuaje, I look for the J21. That's my favorite Robusto size in their Habano that they have. But for the most part, I'll try anything and everything. I'll go out there and especially when somebody's putting their energy and effort into something, I'm all about giving them support and trying, to see what they have. And part of it is quality control and just to be aware of what other tobaccos are being used. tobaccos are being used from all over the world in different ways than they've ever been before. And so it's exciting to see what some other people are doing. And when they use a African tobacco, or they're using an Indonesian tobacco, or they're using something from Costa Rica, Peruvian tobacco that Castagli uses in some of their cigars. Some of those flavors are very, very interesting. And so I have yet to kind of go out of that mold of traditional, tobaccos that I'm familiar with, but I'm inspired, and I want to make sure that I go out there and I maintain at least some awareness of what's going on. So, if it's a company that's making cigars and they're doing a great time, HDA's making some good stuff out of Vieja Negra. It's a small entity. I don't know if you know their stuff.
Yeah, I had some
Cigar
of those.
Clowns. They're doing some crazy stuff with Ish from Banff, and to try the different things that are out there. But for the most part, I'm a traditionalist, and I like consistency, and I like to make sure that when I pick up my cigar, it's going to taste the same from time to time. I use the analog that if you go to McDonald's or Wendy's, that you're going to get that same hamburger presentation, or if you go to Outback Steakhouse and you order the Outback Special Sirloin, it's the same flavor profile and the same presentation and the same cooking methodology, so that no matter where you are, you're going to get that same experience. And so for me personally, I want to make sure that that experience is there for lure cigar smokers. So I haven't kind of gotten too adventurous, but it is fun. And maybe some of the smaller future projects we do for catch and release, that maybe we'll try something, some radical, crazy tobacco, or a different ratio, or a different wrapper binder, whatever, and see if we can't do something fun and curious to see how it goes.
And we applaud you for that, because sometimes you want that consistency in a cigar, that you look at that cigar like that's going to taste the same, and that's the thing I like.
Well, and I like to go out and try something, right? So I'll go try something like the Pony, the Robusto Pony from Castagli, for example, has some of that Peruvian tobacco in it. And so it's a flavor that's very different. And then I come back to one of my cigars that I know what it's supposed to taste like. And it helps me to make sure that my consistency is there and I'm not just palate blind to what's going on, It also helps to reset the palate by smoking other things. But life's too short to smoke crappy cigars. So when you get one that you just don't care for, it doesn't meet your expectations, just start over. Grab a different one.
Put it down, walk off.
And that's the hardest thing to do as a cigar smokers.
It is. I give it a valiant try. I'll sit there, and people have said, put that thing out. I said, I'm going to try to get to that last third to see if there's some magic there. And, sometimes you get surprised and other times you're disappointed, but it is what it is.
But you're absolutely right. I do have to commend you. I don't know if you can see this, and that's no holes whatsoever. The last 4 cigars I've had tunnels.
Oh, really?
Not one.
Yeah, no.
On this one.
Yeah.
Look, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
No tunneling on this.
And I'm not to say that some of my cigars, I've had people that have a tunnel experience or whatever it is. I'll be at an event, and, out of the 100 cigars that are out there being burned or whatever it is, they'll have one that comes up and it doesn't perform. They're handmade products, right? You get somebody, and you get a piece of tobacco that happened to have a little bit more combustibility than another part, and it's going to burn crazy and whatever. But at the end of the day, if anybody has ever had a problem with one of my cigars, I invite them to reach out to me directly and go back to the retailer too. And I support retailers that go ahead and replace cigars for people that don't have a good experience. I want to treat others as I want to be treated as a consumer. Like I said, I'm a consumer first and an enthusiast, and I hate it when a cigar underperforms, whether it be something in terms of its construction or, how it was, rolled that day. You get some Monday morning roller, you get a Friday afternoon roller that they're ready to rock and roll and get out of there, so it happens. And then every now and then you get a piece of tobacco that just doesn't want to cooperate. They're doing their job, and the quality control is high at the factory, but at the same time, we go through and we inspect most of the cigars that come through, and we look at them, and they weigh all the cigars that go through, so they know by weight when the bundles are produced. If they're underweight, they're underfilled. If they're overweight, they're plugged. And then we open those packages and we pull out and we go and we search by hand to make sure that we find out what the issue is. And so every now and then we do it. I smoke a lot of seconds. So, I don't say a lot, but I smoke a lot of the cigars that I do smoke are seconds, because I don't want them to go out, for public consumption. But they take good pictures, and I'll burn through it, and, I'll suffer through it so other people don't have to. But if you do run into a situation where they're not living up to expectation, and even if it doesn't meet your flavor profile and you want to try something different, let me know, so.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying, I just wanted to commend you, because you could tell the craftsmanship of it's been rolled correctly. It's a tight roll. but you can still, it breathes. So you can still get a good draw on it with a tight roll. And
I can't
not
handle
have
plugged
the tunnels.
cigars.
Yeah.
That's great.
either. So
Not
yeah,
a Jamocha
you're
shake
not
straw.
exactly. So you're not struggling with this thing. And it's rolled perfectly to where it's tight, but you still have the airflow that's really good. So that's what I'm saying. I'm
That's
just
good.
commending you.
Thank you. Well, I'll pass that on to the people that actually make it happen. I mean, you know, that's where the real credit needs to go, is to the people that are actually making the cigars. You
My
wouldn't want to
complaint
roll.
is I only have 2 of them.
Yeah, well, so
I know how to fix
I will
that
tell
stuff.
you that I just sold I had a few that I was moving stuff around in the warehouse, and I just sold the last 50 packs that were on the shelf that were behind another box that I found. I was like, oh my gosh. So they are all out in the wild. So Last Cast for this year is out in the wild, and there's still some out there. You can go to our website, lurecigars.com, and go to our contact page, and you'll see a list of all of our retailers, and you can hunt them and find them, but you can go out there and online, they'll ship them to you. So, but they'll be back next June. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to your, because I haven't smoked that Obscuro yet. I don't want to smoke that, but I wanted to make sure that, because I only smoked the fish stick, the smaller one. That's the only one I've had so far. But I wanted to keep it kind of, you know, true to my review and true to kind of a first taste of, you know, your cigars.
well, you'll notice. So while the Last Cast is an LE that we do annually, and I love the flavor profile of that, the closest cigar in the inventory to the Last Cast is the Oscuro. It's not the same tobaccos, but it's very similar in terms of its strength, and its flavor profile is bold, and it's something that holds up. I don't know if you guys drink coffee or drink, you know, high-proof spirits,
Absolutely.
but a lot of times people will say, I like to pair a light-bodied smoke with a cup of coffee, and I'm the opposite. I mean, I don't mind smoking a Connecticut or a light-bodied smoke with a cup of coffee, and it's not overpowering, but I like to be able to feel that cigar on the palate first thing. I want to wake up the palate. So the Oscuro is something that has the same kind of hit you in the palate, hit you in the mouth kind of experience. And it's regular production. It's a lot easier to produce that cigar, and I have access to the tobacco that, you know, in keeping that going. So it's not mass produced, but it's produced in quantity that can support core line going across all of our retail accounts.
I believe that's the first one I had was the Obscuro, and it was phenomenal. It was really good.
Great.
Yeah, I'm with Zach.
I'm looking forward to
Gibbs,
smoking
I
mine.
smoked mine.
That's okay. I still got mine. Ha ha, suckers.
I'm coming to get yours. It's okay.
Good luck. I'll smoke it while you're in the car.
It'll stab you in the hand when you reach for it.
Exactly. But yeah, this one is hitting all the notes for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. All right, so Lou, this is a question that we've been kind of asking everyone. Are you binge watching anything lately?
You know what? So there's a show that I watched. What was it called? I just finished it. It was Black Rabbit.
I heard
on
about
Netflix.
it. I heard it.
It's
Yeah, I
Jude
heard
Law
about that.
and Jason Bateman. I binge watched that. And that was one of the things that just kind of done and over with. There's another one called Task that's out there that's about a task force. I started watching that, but my wife and I are watching that together, and so that one's been a little slower. So I in terms of binge watching, her definition of binging and watching is different than mine. You know, it's much slower, and then she falls asleep, you know, halfway through the episode, and I end up having to rewatch the thing. So, but Black Rabbit was something I just consumed as 8 episodes and just, you know, ate it, you know, right up. Yeah, that was a good one. Landman was another show that was great. Anything by Taylor Sheridan. Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah. That's him.
I can't wait for the next season of the Mayor of Kingstown to come back. That's coming out in the end of the month. Another one of his series.
I haven't watched that one yet. Have you watched Lioness?
Lioness was great.
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic. Mayor of Kingstown. Another great one. I've yet to watch it. I've never watched any of the Yellowstone series. That was something my girls watched, and I just couldn't get into it. But anything he produces is something worth binge watching. And I'd kind of wait till it's all done, and then I'll go back and start from the beginning and watch it all. So,
Did you watch Tulsa King?
With Jeremy Renner, right?
yep, Jeremy Renner's in that.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I started
my
watching
list.
like 3 episodes of Mayor Kingstown. It's really good. I hadn't picked it back up because Tulsa King started coming back on again, so I started watching it
Yeah.
again.
Yep, I haven't started that yet.
Tulsa King is fantastic as well.
It's pretty good.
You should try it. But I bring that up so I can rub something in Grimm's face that he ruined for me the other night. I finally got around to watching The Resident, and Grimm ruined like season 5 for me instantly, and I was extremely sad.
It's been
But
out.
it wasn't a known thing, jerk face. It was
Like
great. Though. I mean, it was good.
Thinking at the end, like it was known.
It was
I
that
haven't
way with
seen
Game
a
of
single
Thrones.
episode of that.
That's
Oh,
good.
yeah,
show.
Game of Thrones. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, the Red Wedding!"
I was that way with Game of Thrones, and I kept it. I was like, no spoilers, and try to stay away from that. And the whole, I won't even for people that haven't watched it, but there's a whole one particular pivotal scene where things happen, and they were talking about it, and I was like, and when I finally got to it, I was like, oh, I see. But I was like, when I tend to like watch when you talk about binge watching, I want to be able to watch it and finish it without having to have any interruptions. I want to watch it on my schedule and so I have a very low tolerance for like having to wait, even though I grew up in the 80s, right? When you had to sit there and wait week to week and there was no VCRs and we didn't have DVR. And I mean, that's how people live their life. And now it's like, how can we not have it to where I can watch 12 hours of television and not be interrupted? But I watched Severance. That was another show on Apple. Foundation, Severance,
I like
Invasion.
Severance. Yeah.
Good
Like
TV.
the morning show
Just
on
really
Apple,
good
too.
TV. I haven't. My girls watch that, and so I have not. When they're binge watching a show, if I walk in the middle of it, I gotta start. I say, "Is it good?" They say it's good. I'll start over, but I haven't watched it because they started watching it without me. So
It's pretty good. So if you have Apple TV, the morning show is really good. It's definitely worth a watch. But no, I'm with you with the binge watching. I want to get the whole season in so I can watch the whole thing without stopping.
right.
The exception has been Tulsa King because I had to find out what happened at the end of the last season. So I had to watch. And then I started, I got a couple of episodes, so I just started to keep watching. So I was like, hadn't stopped. But
See, I'm the opposite. I like the weekly release of a show so that it's the thing I look forward to that week. It's like, oh, I can watch this show. But I get it. I enjoy binge watching stuff sometimes.
So you were the fan of having to wait an entire year to watch, The Wizard of Oz, and having to watch, wait an entire year to watch A Christmas Story on TV when it came on.
Hey.
I got you.
Don't judge.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying you were a fan of it.
I still get excited to, I get to watch 24 hours of Star Wars at Thanksgiving on TNT.
Mhm.
I mean, just because I have access to it 24/7, 365 is no reason.
Exactly. It's better when it's on TV. You can take pee breaks.
That's right.
Oh yeah,
You can.
I haven't been
And
to
wait
the
for
theater.
somebody to yell.
Yep, I haven't been to the theater, and since COVID, I think we went to see one of the Star Wars movies. We went out, but I can smoke a cigar and I can drink a drink. I can get up, take it. I can hit pause and start over, and it's just like I don't need to have that big screen experience. And they don't let you smoke cigars in the movie theaters anymore, so
That's true. Unless you're at a drive-in.
we don't. Yeah, there's one actually in Alabama that is still operational, and I have never been there long enough to where I could go in there
One
and
in
use.
Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah, let's say I think Starlight in Atlanta still does it.
Starlight's still open.
But they
We
also
used to
run
have
a
one
flea
in,
market on the weekends
not
too
too
to
far.
subsidize.
But I don't think it's open anymore. I don't think it is still a thing. But it was kind of cool. They do the double features and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, double features. I used to love those. I only got to experience one double feature at a drive-in, but it was really
Rocky
cool.
Horror.
It was not Rocky Horror. It was actually more recent. It was like the first Transformer and something else was playing, and it was awesome.
These were current movies at the time. The last time I went to a drive-in, I saw a double feature of Austin Powers and Face Off.
There you go.
It was
Wow.
pretty cool.
That's an interesting mashup.
That's
I
Well,
remember.
they had like a PG-13 movie and then an R-rated movie afterwards, so you could leave if you
hilarious.
had kids with you.
Sure.
Yeah, it's kind of a trippy moment because ours, the screens are lined up just far enough apart where you can still see both of them. So if you switch the channel, you could actually watch what was on that screen, or if you switch the other channel, you go back to this screen.
This was one
So-
after the other, single screen.
Yeah. Well, they did the same thing on
Yeah.
ours, where they'd roll the next movie, but it was still playing on the other screen. They started on the other
Yeah,
screen with the
I
first
gotcha.
movie and yours, but it was just kind of fun because you could switch back between channels and watch the other movie if you got bored with yours.
That's funny.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, the first and only time I ever had for a drive-in movie was actually when Empire Strikes Back got released, and they did the original Star Wars Episode 4, and then they did Empire. So I got to watch those two
That's awesome.
in the car.
That's awesome.
Oh,
That was
would've
pretty
been
cool.
man. All right, well, I'm getting to the sad part of my cigar. I am burning my fingers.
I burnt my lips.
Lou,
Yeah,
you're
right.
treating yours right. I'm just
a
sucking mine down.
I even pulled the stick out and everything for the pick.
Yeah, I do not want to let this go, but I got to let it go. So I guess we need to do our final rating on it. All right, so for mine, consistent all the way through. This thing has not changed. It's stayed the same strength, full body cigar, full flavor, very good smoke. The output of the smoke, I can't describe how good an output of smoke it is. You fill your whole mouth with it. It doesn't fit. It's great. Lack of a better word, great. Damn. This one's hard
No,
to
that's
rate.
Grimm's word. You can't use that.
Yeah, I can trademark
That's
that.
true.
This episode is mine now.
Well, we're talking. You're filing paperwork to get it to get trademarked.
I've been
I'm
quiet
giving it a
this entire
5.
time. I filled it all out.
I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. I can't say anything bad about it. It's terrific. I want to go grab the other one right now and start smoking it. That's how good it is.
That's great.
So awesome. How about you, Andy?
Changed my mind. I hate it because I'm at the end of it. I'm with Gibbs. It's got a really. I mean, it's been consistent. The flavor. There's been some flavor change throughout, but it's been really just really enjoyable. You know, we've talked about it before, and before I give a rating, we've talked about situational enjoyment, right? So that always kind of adds to ratings and whatnot. And I try to make more of a mindset to kind of keep that in the back of my head. It's had a great consistent burn. The flavors have been really just spot on. The retro's really smooth and enjoyable. It's purdy. I love the band. I love the story behind the cigar. Lou, you done good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, let's go with a 5. Fuck it.
Fuck it. It's
I'm
superb.
actually giving it out
Your fault.
casually.
Well, dude, like I said, I could not find anything negative to say. Even the burn issue went away. That could possibly knock it down some. So it was great. Like I said, it's one of those I want to go again right now.
Lou, you said something earlier, about kind of having the Connecticut's and the lighter shade cigars with the coffee in the morning, and that's kind of been something we've done kind of regularly in the last couple of months. Just Gibbs and Zach and I, we work together. Screw it, I'll save this one. This will be coffee cigar this week,
It's worth a try. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely want to try it with
right
coffee.
after eggs and toast and coffee.
Yeah,
Well,
actual
the fact that you ate something first is probably good to I don't know how you guys other people have eaten today, but I've had some people that have smoked the last cast on an empty stomach, and they find it to be a little too strong. But if you eat something, and when you know that the cigar, and we put that not warning label, but we put that identification on all of our labels to suggest the strength on the label. Be responsible, and if you're going to smoke a bold cigar or a strong cigar, have something to eat first or eat with it, and
Keep the dark
just
chocolate
smoke
handy.
responsibly. Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, Graham, how you, buddy?
Damn. So I think I already said it. Like I don't understand. It's a 5 for me. Obviously, I'm super excited about this cigar. It was at the right ratio of spicy and flavor and a little pepper, and it's very bold. And yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you.
Amen, brother. Robert, how about you, buddy?
Well, having everything in it that I enjoyed from beginning to end, the flavor, the taste, the smell that came off the foot, everything. If I had it here, I would be having it right now as a backup just to the last one because it was that good. 5, definitely.
Grim liked it so much he left.
Yeah, he went
He's
to
like,
go
no,
grab
I'm
the
going to
other
go with the other one.
Gonna go-
That's what he
gonna
said.
Go smoke another one.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very humbled by your time and attention and your kind words, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to smoke, and I appreciate your patience waiting to smoke it until we could get together and share the time for sure.
It was worth the wait.
Zach, how about you, buddy?
So, like I said before, the pepper at the beginning, which I enjoyed, tapered off in a way that was good. I didn't feel like I was missing it throughout the cigar. The chocolateiness is there, and kind of like Andy was saying, like, you know, the situational thing, like it made it more special to hear you talk about the story and your dad and how it was the inspiration for this. But if I'd smoked this not knowing that, I would still rate it a 5 because it's a great cigar. So yeah, there it is, 5.
Thanks.
Is this the first 5 that everyone has agreed on?
I have to go back and check, but I think this is the first 5 across the board we've ever had.
Wow.
If there are others, there's only a handful.
I mean, it's less than a handful.
You did that with Roma?
Probably.
I don't know. Possibly.
Yeah.
Just to mess with Grim. Even because nobody else mentioned Roma till you just said it.
I know, and I caught myself.
Could have gone a whole
like,
episode, man.
My throat tightens.
And kudos to Skip and team over there at Roma Craft. I do appreciate and like their cigars very much, and I do smoke a lot of their stuff. I didn't fail to mention them earlier when you asked me what other brands I smoke. I smoke a lot of Roma Craft as well.
So do we, sir.
Sure.
So do we.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I can't get Roma Craft locally. Nobody carries Roma Craft in any of the shops or lounges that I have within, a few minutes drive in the house. So when I'm out traveling or I'll mail order, that's one of the brands that I'm always seeking to pick up, and always find it to be a surprise when I can go out there and find some gems in the wild that sometimes that other people overlook, or they just have them stashed away. I'm like, so I picked that up. And, that's one of the things about owning a cigar company. I like my cigars and I smoke my stuff for sure. But at the same time, when I go into a lounge or I go into a shop and they'd never heard of my brand, sometimes what I'll do is I'll go into their humidor and I'll say, well, mind if I look around your humidor a little bit? And I'll buy a few cigars from brands that I like. And it shows them and demonstrates to them as a fellow cigar smoker, these are brands that I respect and I appreciate and I buy, that, hopefully that it reinforces. So, kudos to the companies that make great cigars that in their own right. It helps to, rising tide rises all ships. And when we all do great things, I think that it helps the boutique cigar industry out there to, let and acknowledge when somebody else does a great job, applaud them for what they do, because somebody's going to smoke something different every time they go in there. Most people aren't going to smoke the same cigar, and maybe they'll give my cigars a try. And if you like my cigars, go try something else. So,
yeah, I agree with that philosophy 100%. And Lou, I want you to go ahead and tell us what's coming up for Lure Cigars. What do you have in the works? What's coming out? Where are you going to be at? Let us know. Just take this time, take the floor.
Yep.
Let us know.
I appreciate that. So we just launched the Maduro line, which is our brown packaging I mentioned earlier. And that is out and is hitting the shelves and out there in the wild. So give that a shot. If you like that cocoa flavor, these cigars are designed to hit that kind of, not necessarily a dessert profile, but it's something that if you like those flavors, espresso, coffee, leather, and chocolate, those are that cigar. It's a box press, 5x52 in the Little Trout and a 5x54 in the Brownie Trout. So take a look at that. The Jolly Walleye I mentioned will be coming out in November. That is our holiday release. It's a holiday Habano. Going to be a 5x52, 5.5x52. So Robusto Extra, we call that. That cigar is coming out. It'll be probably Thanksgiving, Black Friday will probably drop that cigar. So be on the lookout for that. Fish sticks are coming back. They'll be back in 30 to 45 days. So if you haven't had a chance to try fish sticks and you want to try something in a smaller profile, especially with the cooler months coming ahead that you don't have a lot of time to smoke, or if you want to, smoke more of them, you just smoke 2 or 3 at a time. So you can do that. And then we'll be, after the first of the year, we're going to be working on kind of a sampler that has all of our Toros in it, and that will give you a chance for you to be able to try all of our blends across the 4 core lines in one of the LEs that we have that's out there as well. So, and then periodically, I can't say when it's going to happen, but we have some other things in the works that are catch and release, that are kind of experimental sizes, experimental blends that we have. So be on the lookout for those. They're limited drops, the micro drops that we'll have. And when you see them, catch them, because it's, catch them before they're gone. It's a catch and release, just like the fishing concept. It's a fish that's too big, fish that's too small, a species that's out of season. we have that same kind of philosophy to try to something else. And that helps us give us feedback for when we're coming up with new blends and new sizes and things to kind of experiment with. So you can follow us on social media at Lure Cigars on Instagram, or go to our website, lurecigars.com, get more of the story, and you can see all the different blends and the profiles and everything else that's there.
Awesome. Well, we want to take this out. Thank you. Go ahead, Andy.
You're talking about catch and release. Does it come with a form, you fill out that you had to catch, you caught it, but you had to release it? But here's why I liked it.
You know what? That is something we have not employed, but it would make sense to do it. And maybe we'll come up with something, put a QR code on there and a form on the website that people can go and give some feedback on it. That might be something fun to do. So that's definitely an idea that maybe we'll adopt. So appreciate the encouragement there. So
No problem.
That's awesome. All right. Well, we want to take time to say thank you, Lou, for being on, letting us try out this cigar, which is fantastic. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I can't get Lure too often down here where I'm at, but when I do, I'm definitely going to grab one, or like you said, get online and start ordering. But on that note, I'm going to say good night.
Night, everyone.
thanks again.